Carmentary. Hello, everybody. It's time for Carmentary at night. Or should we call it Carmentary after dark? I had a great conversation in the gondola today at the mountain with one of Hokkaido's legendary female snowboarders, Yoko Nakamura. She is like the most amazing freeriding woman snowboarder, maybe of all time in Japan. I mean, she's incredible, amazing. I've never really had the chance to film with her or ride with her all that much, unfortunately. Sort of a different generation, younger, and it never really happened. I hope it does happen. But I know her, I'm friendly with her, and I bumped into her right at the base of the mountain, and we got in the same gondola. She jumped in line with us, and we got in the gondola. And we had a great talk about bindings. And it's a continuation on the talk I did about bindings a week or two ago. You can go back and watch that video. And she confirmed a lot of my suspicions, which I was really stoked about. And then she added some more really interesting and important kind of information. So I thought I'd share what I talked with her, what I talked to her about, or talked with her about, whatever. Basically, she rides for Salomon. She rides the Hillside Project board. She has Salomon bindings, and she rides deluxe boots. So this is where we start to get into the weeds, get into the details, but this is where things really get interesting. The bindings she's using from Salomon are apparently being discontinued from the line. So she was actually there to test ride a whole bunch of different bindings. There was a demo going on. One of the local shops had boards and bindings and stuff there for the couple days recently. And she was there to do a bunch of runs, and each run she was swapping out bindings and seeing what she liked and what she didn't. She also has rather small feet, 23.5 centimeters, which even in Japan is kind of considered a small size foot. So she's especially sensitive to boots and binding issues, apparently. Now, here's the deal. She was riding the Salomon bindings that have a plastic heel cup. And under the heel, there's actually a little piece of rubber like the Now bindings have. The Now bindings call it Skate Tech. Salomon has another word for it. Obviously, they can't call it the same thing. And she really liked that. She felt that the cushion underneath the heel was definitely taking out a lot of the vibrations in the chatter. She also likes the plastic heel cup. And there's a bit of a cant on the toe edge. So for her with the small feet, you can really push down and get power into your toe side edge, which she thought was really important. So then we started talking about the Salomon bindings with the soft heel cup, the plastic heel cup that moves laterally, side to side, and is really flexible. It's the ones I was talking about that I had ridden all of last year, and now have decided not to ride because I got pain in my heel and I didn't feel it was working for me. She answered the question as to why those bindings are made the way they are and the reason behind them. Apparently, Salomon snowboard boots are really stiff laterally. They got a good flex toe to heel, so when you want to, get that flex forward, they're quite soft. But you can't bring your knees together. They're laterally a stiff boot. So what they did is they made the heel cup flex inward so that you can bring your knees together. But you're not doing it by bending the boot. You're doing it by flexing the heel cup of the binding. Duh. Of course, I never would have known that because I've never ridden Salomon boots. I've been looking at them and been, wanting to get a pair, but my feet are big. I got size 30 centimeters or 31 centimeters, and they never have my boot size, so I have to pre-order a year or two in advance. And yeah, I've never tried them. So I don't think I would like them though, because a laterally stiff boot is definitely not what I'm into. I like to have my knees together in that kind of, that's the snow surfing kind of form. You want to bring your knees together. It also answered a lot of questions about the chief guy on the Salomon team, who is Takaharu Nakai. He is one of the people who's really into designing the hillside boards on the Salomon there. And he's like a freestyle rider, right? He does like tricks and jumps and all kinds of stuff. But he really rides with a very snow surfy kind of flow and style that's beautiful to watch, really amazing. And I thought, of course, that's it. If he's riding the Salomon boots and they're laterally stiff, of course he would want a binding that flexes inward to allow him to get that stance, but then he's still got the stiffness of the boot to have the reaction time and the flex that he needs. He's a guy, he's strong, he's like super athletic, he's been riding since he was like 8 or whatever. So he can work with that. But then comes along me, who's riding a super soft boot, both forward and side to side. And you put that in a binding that has a real soft heel cup, suddenly you're like jello all over. And Yoko today was saying the same thing. She has trouble on both the toe sides and the heel sides. Mainly, she also rides a rather soft boot, she said. Her Deluxe is like a rather soft boot, side to side. And she really has trouble getting up on the heel side and like going, across the hill or pulling a heel side turn through like bumpy conditions or rough conditions. And she today tested like 4 different bindings, and she was like, I'm so tired, it's so much more work when the bindings are not right and you're having to go through this chunder kind of snow. And she was purposely taking runs through like all kinds of bumpy terrain and stuff to really feel what the bindings were doing. So another great tip there is, if you're going to test bindings, don't test them in pristine powder conditions, because of course they're going to work good. I think that's the situation I had last year with the bindings and my boot setup not working well together. In deep powder days when it was good, no problem at all. Felt great. But as soon as I got on a hard pack course or bumpy conditions, I was having to work so hard that I was getting tired and there was a lot of strain. So I think that covers everything she said. I hope that answers some questions, and it opens up a whole new line of thought. Obviously, brands, they don't think about other brands. They want you to buy all of their stuff, especially if it's a brand that makes boards, boots, and bindings. If they make all the hard gear, I'm pretty sure that all they think about is, hey, these are our boots. How can we get them to work with our bindings extremely well? And then how can we get our bindings to work with our boards really well? That makes sense. Why think about other brands? There are binding brands out there that only make bindings. I believe Flux, Union, maybe they're part of a group company that also makes boards under a different brand name. But I think those brands are going to be more focused on making a product that will work with all different kinds of boots, all different kinds of boards, etc. So that's something to think about. If you are sticking within one brand, like a Burton or a Salomon or one of the big brands that has everything, maybe that's the best way to go, and you get that flex that you want, and you can work within the company. But if you're kind of splitting up and playing the field, using all different kinds of gear, it's definitely something to be aware of and to understand. I'm thankful I got the chance to talk to Yoko today, and it reminds me again that I really need to start. I don't know why I didn't just record our conversation in the gondola there, but it's one of those things, you just chat, and then at the end I was like, man, this is like gold here. should have been recording this. A lot of times, shop people at the stores have not ridden or don't understand the equipment. A lot of times the brands, maybe the brand doesn't even explain that kind of product detail to the shops. So it's very valuable to talk to really top quality riders who understand the gear and kind of obsess over it like that. So really cool. I'll try to share more info as I get it in the future. Alrighty then. Hope you enjoyed that, and I'll be back with another Carmentary after dark. Drive safe, everybody.